Hi everybody, welcome to my newest video. I hope everybody is keeping safe and as well as keeping active as best as you can inside. Okay, today it's all about the hips, so I'm going to be working on hip mobility. Let's get nice and deep into those hip stretches. The only thing you'll need today is your mat or a towel. Something that you may want to consider using in today's class is a pillow, a couple of pillows stacked up. I sometimes use this lovely big pillow, not beanbag pillow, lay it in front of me, and when I'm doing forwards folds, things like that, I actually come down and rest onto it. So we're going to be holding a few positions for a little bit longer today, and if you're particularly tight in the hips, I would definitely recommend getting something like this. Okay, go get the equipment if you need it, and I will see you in a minute. Okay everybody, welcome to the video. I'm just going to start in a cross-legged position. Taking the hands out towards the knees, forefinger and thumb together, palms lifted or the palms facing down. Just roll those shoulders back. You can close down the eyes if you want to. And I just want you to use this time to connect the body with the breath, just making sure we're breathing in and out in the right flow. So as you inhale through the nose, sitting up nice and tall, feel the chest lift, feel the tummy inflate with air. And as you exhale through the nose, we're drawing the navel towards the spine. And again, inhaling through the nose, filling up the tummy with air, sitting up nice and tall. Exhale through the nose, drawing the navel to spine. Inhaling through the nose, filling up the tummy with air. We're going to bring the hands together at heart center into prayer. And as we exhale, gently bowing forwards to one another. Namaste, everyone. Okay, let's get started. Moving down into the mat, into a tabletop position. So, coming into a tabletop position in your mat, we've got the hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees are stacked underneath those hips. Now it's all about the hips today, so we just want to get those hips moving. So we're just going to start to gently rock the hips from left to right. You may hear a little clicks in my body today, in my hips in particular. Okay. And then finding some stillness in your tabletop position. We're going to start by taking that right leg out behind us. Now we're going to bend the leg, flex the foot and just push the foot up. Now we're going to point that toe. We're going to bring that knee back in towards the chest. We're going to inhale, lifting that right leg back up. Exhale, bringing it back in. Inhale, taking it right behind you. And exhale, bringing it back in. Now sticking with that right leg, I'm going to take the right leg out behind you again, and we're just going to circle that right leg. Now I want you to try and make these circles as big as possible. Try not to dump all your weight into that left hand. Keep the weight going through the hands equally, and try and make those circles as big as you can. And now we're going to change direction. So big circles, keeping the leg bent, around to the side. And then placing that right knee down, we're going to tuck your toes under. We're just going to lift up into a downward facing dog. Now in your downward facing dog, we're pushing the head towards those knees. We're lifting up through the tailbone, and we're going to start to pedal those legs out. We're going to inhale through the nose, lifting that right leg up to the ceiling. As we exhale, bending that right knee now, squeezing that right heel towards that left glute. And we're going to do the same thing. So making circles with that right leg. Try and make them as big as you can. And then changing the direction. Inhale, lifting that right leg back up to the ceiling. And then placing it back down next to the left. We're going to tilt the body forwards into a plank. Inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, dropping those knees down. And we're back into a tabletop position, swapping sides this time, bending that left leg out behind you. We're going to flex that left foot, pushing that left foot up, pointing the toe, inhale through the nose, and as you exhale, bringing that left knee in towards the chest. Inhale, lifting that left leg back up. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. One more. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, round. And then keeping with that left knee up, we're going to take some nice circles with that left leg. So again, try and make these circles as big as you can. Try not to put all the weight through that right hand. We're keeping the weight equal through both hands. And then we're going to change directions. This is great, not only for warming up the hips, but you may start to feel those glutes firing up. And then placing that left knee down, we're going to tuck those toes under, and we're going to lift back up into a downward facing dog, pedaling those legs off, lifting up through the tailbone. We're going to inhale, lifting that left leg up to the ceiling. As we exhale, bending that left knee, squeezing that left heel towards your right glute. And we're going to do the same thing. So nice big circles with that left leg. Try and make the circles as big as possible. And then changing directions. We're going to go back into a three-legged dog. Lift that left leg as high as you can. And place that left leg down next to the right. We're going to inhale, float the body forwards into a plank. And as we exhale, taking it back into downward facing dog, pedaling those legs back out. So we're back into our downward facing dog. Lifting up through the tailbone. Pushing the head towards the knees. We're going to inhale, lifting that right leg back up to the ceiling. Lifting that right leg as high as you can, bending that right knee towards that left glute. Inhale, straighten that right leg. As we exhale, place that right foot down in between the hands. We're going to drop down onto that left knee. Now it's up to you if you keep your left toes tucked under. I personally don't. If you feel like you need a little bit of stability, keep the toes tucked. From here, we're going to inhale and we're going to lift those arms up to the ceiling, palms facing, and gently allowing the hips to sink down. So we're allowing that left hip to sink down. We've got that right knee stacked over that right foot. Lifting the arms will add weight. So draw the shoulder blades together and you can add a slight back bend if you wish. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, sink in a little bit deeper. Adding a slight back bend if you want to. Taking a nice deep breath in and exhale through the nose. We're looking up to the hands if it's comfortable to do so. We're going to inhale through the nose. As we exhale, bringing the hands down. Now placing them on the inner side of your right foot. I'm going to take your right foot out to the right hand side. Now from here, you can either stay up on the hands if it's comfortable to do so, or you can drop down onto the forearms. And what I want you to try and do is just create some circles again with those hips. So this is slightly more difficult to do. I find that I don't get much movement, but I'm just trying to circle around as best as you can, and then changing the direction of that movement. Again, just working into those hips. Nice, everyone. Okay, now from here, we're going to turn your right toes out to the right hand side. You can lift back up onto the hands if you want to. And we're going to roll onto the outside of your right foot. Now, if it doesn't feel comfortable on the ankle or on that right knee, just place that right foot flat and take those forearms back down onto the mat. If it is comfortable to roll out onto the outside of the right foot, taking the right hand, we're gently applying some pressure onto that right knee. You can look up to the ceiling if you want to. Placing that right foot flat. Bringing those hands back down onto the mat. I'm going to walk that right foot in slightly. I'm going to tuck the back toe under and I'm going to lift back up off that left knee. Keeping the left hand where it is, I'm going to take that right hand up to the ceiling. So just feeling that openness through that side of the body. Exhale, bringing it down. We're going to step back into a downward facing dog, pedaling those legs out. And maybe feeling the difference between that right hip and the left hip. Trying to notice if there's any difference between the legs. We've done the right leg so far. We're going to inhale, lifting that left leg up to the ceiling.
Lifting it as high as you can. Exhale, bending that left knee, squeezing that left heel to the right glute. Inhale, straighten that left leg. As we exhale, stepping that left foot down between the hands. We're going to drop that right knee down. I'm going to untuck the right toe, but feel free to keep the toe tucked. We're going to inhale, lifting those arms. Now allow those hips to sink down, really relaxing down into those hips if you can. Lifting those arms up, draw the shoulder blades together. And if you want to add a slight back bend, go for it. We're inhaling through the nose. And as we exhale, sinking a little bit deeper. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, sinking those hips a little bit deeper down. Looking up to the hands if it's comfortable to do so. If it's not, just look forwards. We're going to inhale through the nose. And as we exhale, bringing those hands down onto the inner side of that left foot, walking that left foot up to the left hand side, and then either staying up on your hands or coming down onto your forearms. And again, we're going to create some circles with that left hip. My left hip is a lot tighter, so I'm going to stay up on my hands for this side. I find if I come down onto the forearms, I can't actually get any movement in this position, changing directions. And if you're down on the forearms, making your way back up onto your hands, we're going to turn the left toes slightly out to the left hand side, rolling onto the side of the left foot, taking that left hand onto the left knee if it feels comfortable to do so, gently pushing that knee out to the side. And we're looking up to the ceiling, up to the left hand side. Just gently opening out through that left hip. We're going to take that left hand back onto the mat, place that left foot flat, tucking the right toes under, lifting up off your right knee, keep the right hand down. Inhale, taking that left arm up to the ceiling. Exhale, bringing it down. We're going to step back into a downward facing dog, and we're going to pedal those legs out again, lifting up through the tailbone. Making some funny noises on my mat. We're going to inhale, lifting the left leg this time, pushing down into that right heel. As we exhale, stepping that left foot down between the hands. We're going to inhale, lifting up into a high lunge. And as we exhale, dropping that right heel down, coming into a warrior two. We're going to straighten that left leg, turning both toes to face towards you. So both toes facing forwards. Careful I don't go flying on my mat, which is acting like a bit of a surfboard today, which is interesting. Okay, so toes facing forwards. Take the legs as wide as you feel comfortable. Take the hands onto the hips. We're going to inhale, drawing the shoulder blades together. We're going to look up to the ceiling. And then as we exhale, coming down into a wide leg forwards fold. Now we're going to place the hands down. We're going to take the hands through the legs. So your fingertips are pointing away from you. If I turn this way, just to make it seem a little bit, oh, hang on, I'm sliding around on my mat. So take the hands behind you, fingertips pointing down. You can use your hand to pull yourself down towards the mat. So taking those fingertips through, fingertips pointing away from you. We're stacking the elbows on top of those wrists. Open the legs a little bit wider if you want to. We're taking the crown of the head down to the mat. And again, you can use those hands to pull yourself down. Now try and move the weight forwards into the toes, into the balls of the feet, rather than into the heels. Lift up through the tailbone. Now we're going to bring the hands flat onto the mat. We're going to inhale. We're going to lift up halfway, looking forwards. And then exhale back into that position. Take the head down if you can. Take the hands through the legs. And we're pulling down, moving the weight forwards into the balls of the feet. And feel that openness through the chest, through the hips, sorry, not through the chest. Take those hands flat. We're going to lift back up onto your hands, gently heel toeing those feet back in slightly. And then soften the knees. We're going to inhale, coming up into a standing position. We're going to take those arms all the way up and exhale down through heart center. Bringing the legs a little bit closer in together, but we're going to turn the toes outwards. So your toes are pointing outwards this time. So we're going to go into our lovely goddess pose. So in this position, it can feel a little bit odd. We want the toes trying to point outwards. We want the knees to obviously go in the same direction. If it doesn't feel sturdy, turn the toes slightly inwards. Over time, we'll work on the openness that comes from the hips through to the knees, down to those feet. So we want to work on getting those feet turned out. Okay, so we're bending the knees. We're going to bring the hands together at heart center. We're going to bend down, so we're going as low as you can. Now, as we inhale, we're going to take those arms up and we're going to straighten the legs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back down through heart center. Try and go a little bit deeper. Lifting up through the chest. Inhale, take those arms back up. Exhale, down. One more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Well done, everybody. Now, depending on how you feel here, you can take the hands out towards the knees. And we're pushing the tailbone under. Careful you're not sticking your bum out. We're not leaning forwards. Nice and tall through the body. Inhale, lifting back up, straightening those arms. And then heel toe those feet back in. Maybe shaking those legs out a little bit. Bringing the hands down through heart center. Well done, everyone. Okay, from where you are, we're going to inhale, take those arms up. We're just going to go down into an Uttanasana, a forwards fold. Shaking the head. Moving the weight forwards into the balls of the feet rather than into the heels. Maybe gently rocking from side to side. Take the hands to the knees. We're going to inhale, look halfway. Exhale, back into an Uttanasana. Place those hands down. We're going to step back into a downward facing dog or walking forwards into a downward facing dog, depending on where you are in your mat. We're going to inhale, lifting that right leg up this time. And as we exhale, stepping that right foot down in between the hands. We're going to inhale, lifting back up into a high lunge. And we're going to exhale, take that left heel down, back into your warrior two with that right leg. We're going to straighten that right leg. And we're going to turn the toes to face forwards. So we're back into a wide leg position, toes facing forwards. Now from here, bringing the hands down to heart center. Please be careful. What I want you to do is we're going to turn your right toes to face towards the end of your mat. Left toes are pointing towards you. Right toes pointing forward. Left toes pointing towards you. Now from here, we're going to go down into our Skandasana. So we're bending into that right leg. This is your side lunge. Now depending on how you feel here, we're going to stay on that left heel, lifting the toes up. And I've got my right heel flat. Now, if you don't have the heel down on the mat, you may feel that you want to keep those hands down. My right heel is fine, but you'll see in a minute when we get to the left-hand side, I haven't got as much mobility in that side. So I'm happy with this right side. I'm going to lift up through the chest. We're allowing the hips to open. If you're comfortable here, we're going to take it slightly further. We're going to straighten that right arm, placing the right hand down. And I'm pushing that right hand, or right arm, sorry, into my right leg, pushing that right knee open. I'm going to take that left arm up, looking up to the left hand, feel the openness through the chest. Bending that elbow, I'm going to try and take my right hand behind me into a bind. So I'm holding the hands, I'm rolling the left shoulder back, but I'm also pushing, be careful not to fall, into that right leg to feel that openness. If that gets too much, just gently release, either take that hand back down, bring it back down to heart center, or keep those hands down. If you're in your bind, start making your way out of it. We're going to push through the right leg, we're going to transfer over. So left toes now pointing towards the end of your mat, and we want to turn the right toes to face towards the camera, facing towards you. Now as I come into my Skandasana, this side, my left heel isn't very happy, it won't go down onto the mat. So I find what I do, I end up crunching forwards. To compensate, lift up through the chest, lift the left heel if it won't go down, and bring the hands together at heart center. And the option here for your bind, take that left arm down, lift that right arm up, looking up to the right hand, we're bending that right elbow, and we're going to take that left hand behind us, roll that right shoulder back, open up through the chest, and stay if it's comfortable for you to do so. We just concentrate on lifting up that right heel,
And we're pushing that left knee open. So we're pushing that left leg away from us. Holding it for another breath. If you're in your bind, gently release. And then from here, we're going to push through that left leg. We're going to go back into a wide leg forwards fold. So open the legs out a little bit wider if you want to. And we're going to take the head down. We're going to take the hands down. We're going to inhale looking forwards. And then exhale back into this position. Now, depending on how you feel here, you can either stay up on the hands. That's absolutely fine. If you're comfortable, maybe take the hands out, either looping the two peace fingers around that big toe, thumb on top, bending those elbows, and we're pulling ourselves down. Or if you want to go a little bit deeper, take the hands onto the feet, take the head to the side, lifting up through the elbows. Keep lifting up through the tailbone and keep moving the weight forwards into the balls of the feet. We're going to start making our way out of this. So take the hands down, heel toe those feet in. We're going to bring them just slightly wider than the hips. We're going to inhale looking forwards, and we're going to exhale coming down into your yogi squat. Now into the yogi squat, we want to try and get those heels down. Don't worry if they're not. Keep the hands down if they're not at the moment. Lifting up through the chest, and we're going to bring the hands together at heart center. Now push those elbows into the knees. So we're pushing the knees outwards. Pushing the tailbone down, lifting up through the chest. Well done, everybody. Just having a couple of breaths here. So nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the nose. We're going to take the hands down. Now we're going to lift the tailbone up. We're going to come straight back down into it. We're going to lift, we're going to straighten the legs 3 times and then come back down into your yogi squat. So place the hands forward. We're going to straighten those legs. So we're going to inhale, lifting up through the tailbone, dropping the head down. Exhale down into yogi squat. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale down. One more. Inhale, lift. This time as we exhale, coming back into your yogi squat. Lifting up nice and tall. Let's push those elbows into the knees. If you want to go a little bit deeper, maybe taking the hands into fists. And then taking the hands behind you, coming down into a seated position. Just keeping the legs out. So we want the feet wider than the knees, knees wider than those hips. Take the hands behind you and then just gently rock those knees from left to right. If your hips are anything like mine, you can feel where we've worked them so far. Okay, from here, we're going to make our way back into a downward facing dog. Tuck those toes under, making sure the fingers are spread out on the mat. We're going to pedal those legs out. We're going to inhale, lifting that right leg up to the ceiling, pushing the head back to that standing leg. I'm going to go down into your pigeon pose. So thinking about trying to get your right knee towards that right wrist, and then place that right foot as close to the left wrist as you can go. Now, depending on how open the hips are, we can bring that foot forwards a little bit further. If that's not comfortable, and if it means you roll out onto your right bum cheek, what I want you to do is shift the weight over. So draw that heel closer into the body, move the weight so you're squaring those hips off. You should feel that you're sort of quite symmetrical in those hips. We're going to take the hands to the side. We're going to inhale, push the chest forwards as if you're doing cat-cow or cow. And then exhale, we're going to walk the hands forwards and we're going to sink down onto the mat. If that's not comfortable, just stay up onto those hands. Making sure that that left leg is behind you. So nice and straight line with that left leg. Left knee is directly behind the hip. Left ankle is directly behind that left knee. And we're going to just take the head down if it's comfortable to do so. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the nose. I'm going to inhale, we're going to lift back up. Now readjusting that leg. If you're comfortable where you were then, just bring that right foot slightly further forwards. Let's try and go back into that. Again, the option is to just stay up on the hand. This is a great stretch for the outside of the hips and takes it down into the glutes. Inhale, lifting up nice and tall, push the chest forwards, looking up. Exhale, gently sinking forwards.
Taking your last breath in this position, so take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And then exhale through the nose. We're going to start making our way back up onto our hands. Now the next part is optional. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this stretch, we're going to try and bend that left leg. I'm going to take that left hand behind me towards that left foot. Now careful you don't roll out onto that right glute. Now if you're comfortable here, you can just hold the foot, or you can use tights or resistance bands to hold onto that foot. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this stretch, we can try our mermaid. So you're going to bring that left foot in, bring that left foot then to that left elbow, bring that left hand upwards. We're going to reach forwards and then bringing that right hand up and over. This is mermaid or merman. Bring the hands together, open up through the chest, push the hands away from you, and we're looking up to the ceiling. Nice pretty pose. Really challenging. Gently releasing, taking that left leg back out behind you, and then maybe just gently rocking from left to right. Now from here, keep this right leg bent, move the foot away from you slightly, and we're going to bring your left knee to the right heel. So we're just bending that left knee up to the right heel. Now sitting up nice and tall, we're going to just walk the hands around to the right hand side. So we're getting a nice stretch, a nice twist through the body, looking over that right shoulder. And then bringing it back to the center. If you want to counter stretch by twisting over to the left hand side, looking over that left shoulder. And then gently facing forwards. Now we've still got both legs bent. We're going to keep the right leg down and we're going to bring this left leg on top of it. So what I want you to do is bring your left foot towards that right knee, and your right foot is underneath the left knee. Now don't worry if this knee is up here, you can gently take the hands onto that left knee, pushing it down. Now what I want you to do is have a little look down. You want to make sure there's like a triangle shape in between those legs. So we've got the foot stacked on top of the knee, and then this left knee stacked on top of that foot. We're sitting up nice and tall. Now you may find that this is exactly where you just want to stay. If this is already a challenge, just gently encourage that left knee to go down. If you want to go a little bit further, we're going to inhale, lifting up nice and tall. Exhale, walk those hands forward, and then gently resting down onto that left thigh. Keep rolling forward, so keep walking the hands forwards, and you feel a lovely stretch in the outside of those hips. Relax the head down. We're going to inhale through the nose, looking up halfway. Or exhale one more time. Well done, everyone. Inhale, making your way back up. Now, keeping in the position, we're going to cross the left leg now over the right leg. We're trying to stack now the knees on top of each other. If this doesn't feel comfortable, again, if this leg is all the way up here or this knee is lifted, just gently encourage on pushing that left knee down. Now, depending on how comfortable you feel here, we're trying to stack the knees on top of each other. If you're not very comfortable, bring the feet closer towards your body. If you are comfortable, move the feet further away from the body. So Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Let's stick with Gomukhasana, that sounds better. Now we're going to inhale, lifting up nice and tall through the chest. The option is to stay here, maybe just encouraging that left knee down. If you want to take it further, as you exhale, walk those hands forwards, and we're gently going to relax down onto that left leg. We're going to inhale, looking up again, halfway. And then exhale, gently folding it forwards, moving the feet away from you if you're comfortable where you are. Gently making your way up out of this. Ooh.
We're going to keep that right leg down on the floor, and we're going to hug this left knee in, or left leg in. Now place your left foot in the crease of that right elbow and take that left hand underneath, or left arm underneath. Interlock the hands, sitting up nice and tall, and we're drawing that knee in. I'm just going to straighten my right leg just because I feel like it's not cooperating in the position. Sitting up nice and tall. Now, as the hips are so open, or we've done quite a lot of work so far with those hips, I know we've got to do the left hand side for pigeon. We may as well have a little go whilst we're here at lotus. So place this left foot now up into that right hip. We're going to drop that left knee down. Now, lotus, I found, for me personally, it wasn't the hips, it was my feet. I've got very small feet, and I found that over the years of practicing this, I ended up with various foot injuries, ankle, even breaking my own toe once by just pulling it. So just be careful with lotus. If you're comfortable, we're going to tuck that left foot into the crease of that right hip, and then bending that right leg, we're going to try and lift gently that right foot up, and then you're placing that right foot on top. Now again, if this is uncomfortable, feel free to just release. I can only hold it for a few seconds or a few breaths because my left foot gets crushed, which is not particularly helpful. Take the hands out towards the side. Inhale, looking up nice and tall. And exhale through the nose. Well done, everyone. Gently start coming out of this position. Nice and elegantly. And then making your way back into a downward facing dog. Coming back onto those hands and knees, tuck those toes under, maybe even pedaling those legs out. They may feel a little bit stiff. My left foot certainly does. And let's swap sides. We're going to inhale, lifting that left leg up to the ceiling, pushing as far down into that right heel as we can. And as we exhale, bringing that left knee towards that left wrist and your left foot towards that right wrist. We're going to straighten that right leg out behind you, making sure it's in a nice straight line. And then the option here is to either stay up on the hands, squaring those hips off, inhale through the nose, and as we exhale, you can walk those hands forwards, coming down onto the mat, take the elbows wide. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, and then exhale through the nose, try and sink a little bit deeper into this stretch. We're going to inhale, lifting back up. Maybe readjusting if you want to take that left foot a little bit further away from you. Inhale, sitting up nice and tall, pushing that right hip down. As we exhale, folding forwards back into your pigeon. And then inhale, gently lifting back up onto your hands. So the next part is optional. If you want to go a little bit deeper, maybe try and bend that right leg. We're going to take that right hand around to the right foot and gently encouraging that heel in towards the glute. If you want to try your mermaid pose this side, we're going to try and get that right foot by your right elbow. Lift that right hand up to the ceiling. Lift that left arm up. Start bending the elbow, taking the hands around to each other. We're pushing the hands open, so push the hands away from the body, create a bit more space. And we're looking up to the ceiling into your mermaid or merman. Well done, everybody. Gently releasing. Nice, everybody. And now keep that left leg bent. We're going to bring that right knee up to that left heel. Just going to turn to face you so it makes a little bit more sense. And we're going to stretch either side. So I'm first of all going to twist round to the left hand side. I'm looking towards my right foot. And then facing forwards, I'm going to twist now to the right hand side. Just counter stretching. And then facing forwards.
We're going to go back into exactly the same sequence that we've just done on the right hand side. So I'm now going to place the right leg on top of the left. So you want your right knee to be above your left foot and your right foot to go to that left knee. And again, if you feel like this knee is up here, just gently encourage that leg down, and over time it will drop down. Try not to bring the feet in, so we're placing them on top, and then we've got that triangle shape in between the legs. Inhale, sitting up nice and tall, pushing that right knee down if you need to, and then exhale, folding forwards again. Walk those hands forwards. Drop the elbows down if you can, drop the head down. I'm going to inhale, looking forwards, and exhale back into that stretch. Dropping the head down if you can. And then taking your time on an inhale to lift back up. And then we're going to cross those legs. So placing now that right knee on top of that left leg. And again, if that leg lifts, don't worry about it. Just encourage pushing it down. Bring the feet closer to the body if you're uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, move those feet further away. I'm going to inhale through the nose, lifting up nice and tall. Push the hips forward. So push the chest forwards, push the hips forward, and then exhale, folding forwards back into your Gomukhasana. Inhale, gently making your way up out of this. Now we're going to hug that right knee in. So hooking that right arm underneath that right leg, bring your right foot to the crease of that left elbow. Sitting up nice and tall, and we're just rocking the leg from left to right. It's a nice stretch for the hip. Nice active stretch, working through the body. And then while we're here, we can have a little go at our lotus on the other side. So placing that right foot in the crease now of that left thigh. Move that left foot away from you. Placing that right knee back down towards the mat. Watch the feet, okay? So already this is slightly uncomfortable on my right foot. Push that right knee down. If you want to go further, we're now going to try and lift that left foot up. Placing the left foot up onto that right leg. Lotus pose. Take the hands out, inhaling through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Gently going to release. If you can. And then bring those legs in front of you. And again, gently rocking those knees from left to right. Well done, everybody. Okay, I'm going to take the legs wide, or as wide as you feel comfortable to go. Sitting up nice and tall. Now, normally before I do wide leg forwards folds, what tends to happen is you don't go at your full range. So I take the hands behind me, and then I push forward slightly, so I get a little bit more stretch. Obviously, if that's not comfortable, don't do that. Okay, I'm going to inhale, taking those arms up, looking up to the hands. As I exhale, I'm going to fold forwards. I'm going to place the hands down, take those elbows wide. I'm going to flex the feet, allow the elbows to drop down. And just going down as far as you feel comfortable. Now, this is a great time to use pillows if you want to. I used to sit like this watching TV with pillows stacked up underneath my chest, and then gradually over time, obviously you're sinking down into the pillow, getting nice and relaxed. So I would definitely recommend that, especially if you're not very comfortable in these positions. We're going to inhale, we're going to look halfway, and we're going to exhale, going a little bit deeper. Now, depending on where you are in this position, if you're up on the pillow, that's absolutely fine. Just keep lifting those toes and keep rolling forward. So we're rolling forwards through the body. Okay, if you are comfortable here, what we want you to do is take the head down to the floor. The option is to take the hands out towards the feet, and we're pushing. We're pushing the hands into the side of the feet or ankles. We're pushing the chest now down towards the floor.
then gently come back out of this stretch. Shaking those knees. Obviously, if you're using a pillow, or if you want to use this technique more as a sort of relaxation stretch technique, you can do it again, just using the pillows. Maybe do it later when you're watching TV or Netflix or whatever it is that you're watching at the moment. And we're just coming back down into this one more time. And again, taking it as far as you feel comfortable. If you want to slide the hands out to the feet, push down, push the side of the head down, push the chest down. And then gently making your way back up out of that stretch. Well done, everyone. Just lifting up from the kneecaps. Taking the hands onto the thighs, rolling those legs back and forth. Nice, everybody. Okay. Now, drawing the soles of the feet together. Bring the feet in towards the body. We're going to peel the feet open. So open the feet apart. That's it. We're going to hold on to the feet. We're going to inhale, lifting up nice and tall, pushing those knees down. Exhale, coming forwards. Now in this position, you can either take the hands underneath the feet and use that to pull yourself down towards the heel, or you can push your elbows onto the legs. So pushing the elbows down onto those knees. And with every exhale, we're trying to go a little bit deeper. So we inhale, maybe gently release. Exhale, try and go a little bit deeper into that stretch. Well done, everyone. And then gently inhale, lifting back up. We're going to draw the knees together. I'm going to take the hands around the legs, sitting up nice and tall, just hugging the knees right into the chest. So you should feel a little bit of a stretch on those hips. And then from here, I'm going to go down onto our mat. So laying down onto the mat, maybe hugging the knees in towards the chest. Take those knees apart, and we're rocking from left to right. Better. Don't have the sun in my eyes now. And then from here, we're going to go into your Padmasana. So we're going to lift those feet up to the ceiling. Keep the bend in the knees. We want to we want the legs as far wide as you feel comfortable, and then push those knees down towards the back of the arms. Now you can either take the hands onto the ankles, or you can take the hands onto the feet. Careful you don't lift up the tailbone. I see this a lot. This is not child pose. I don't know what this is. Well, anyway, so beg your pardon, Padmasana, happy baby pose. We want the tailbone down on your mat, the legs as wide as possible, and we're pushing the knees down towards the back of the arms. If it's comfortable, maybe gently rocking from left to right. Keep pressing that tailbone down into your mat. And then from here, if you want to, you can straighten out both legs. Push the tailbone back down onto your mat. You can take, release the feet and take the hands onto the legs if you want to. And then from here, bringing those knees close together. Hug the knees into the chest. I'm going to cross your right leg over the left. So crossing the right leg over. If you want to go into eagle and wrap that right foot around the base of the left, that's absolutely fine. Push the knees away from you slightly, taking the arms now out to the side of the body, either into cactus with the palms facing up, or if you've got enough room, take the arms long, palms facing down. We're going to inhale through the nose, and as we exhale, we're going to take the knees over to the left-hand side. Now try and keep that right shoulder down, and we're looking out towards that right hand. If this is too intense with the legs crossed, just unhook the legs and place that right knee on top of the left knee. We're looking out towards that right hand. We've got that right shoulder down on the mat.
Gently bringing those knees back into the center, uncrossing them, crossing the left over the right this time. And if you want to go into eagle legs, that's absolutely fine, or just keeping the cross there. Inhale through the nose as we exhale. Taking the knees now down to the right. We're keeping this left shoulder down and we're looking out towards the left hand. On an inhale, gently bringing those knees back into the center, uncrossing the legs, keeping the knees together, hugging those knees in, and maybe even trying to do some little circles, just working all the way through the base of the spine, and then changing directions. Having the knees back in, take them apart again, hands on top of those knees, gently rocking from left to right. And then when you're ready, hugging the knees back in, we're just going to straighten those legs up to the ceiling, flexing the feet, pushing those heels up. And then when you're ready, just taking those legs down onto the mat. We're going to take the arms up above your head. We're going to part the legs, allow the feet to naturally drop outwards. We're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, filling up the tummy with air. We're going to exhale through the mouth. So we're going to inhale through the nose, out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then gently wriggling the toes, wriggling the fingers. Hug those knees back into the chest. Take the arms wide, palms facing down, gently rocking the knees from left to right. And then when you're ready, hugging the knees into the chest, we're going to rock up into a seated position. Crossing the legs if it's comfortable to do so. Taking the hands out towards the knees, forefinger and thumb together. Either the palms lifted or the palms facing down. Closing down the eyes. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. We're going to exhale through the mouth again. So in through the nose. Out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose. Out through the mouth. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Bring the hands together at heart center. And then as we exhale, gently bowing forwards to one another. Namaste, everybody.